Day 26 in my Black History Month series, I am honoring the legendary Bethann Hardison, former model, the grandmother of the catwalk, diversity advocate, style sage, and Miss I Call It Like I See It, Bethann Hardison. Bethann was born and raised in New York when it was called Bedford-Stuyvesant, before colonial gentrification took place. Bethann was raised outside of a nuclear family with her mother and grandmother. When she became a teenager, she moved with her father. He was a prominent imam in the Nation of Islam who counsels and advised Elijah Muhammad. That revolutionary force, focus, and spirituality were guiding principles in Bethann's life. She began a fashion merchandising major at Fashion Institute of Technology and NYU. Bethann lived and worked in the garment district in New York. She often speaks very proudly and nostalgically of that era and district. It was where she honed her skills and developed knowledge on garment construction, fashion retail, and the business. Bernie Ozer of Federated Stores booked Bethann after she delivered fashion samples to him and casually said, "If you really want a good show, you'll have me in it. Speak it into existence, sis." Bethann was refreshing in a world full of lollipops, pastel dresses, and blonde hair. Her signature distinct afro, low-cut, fierce but demure eyeshadow and piercing gaze made her a top choice for runway shows. During this time, the industry, of course, was still catering to a majority white audience, consumers, and buyers. When Bethann was cast in a show held in the South, she recalls that during her long strut on the catwalk, the buyers refused to look up and didn't even want to look at her. That was a pivotal and courageous show for Bethann. She was facing blatant racism while still bolstering her own bravery, boldness, and affirmation of self as a Black woman breaking into a world of white. Bethann modeled on the runway and was also the campaign model for Ungaro, Issey Miyake, Oscar de la Renta, Anne Klein, Calvin Klein, Perry Ellis, and more. In the 1970s, fresh off the disco and revolutionary runways, Bethann and other Black models were the top muses for some very notable Euro and New York designers. Hardison's career in the fashion world is ongoing and evolutionary. She has metamorphosed from model to creative director to entrepreneur to agent to advocate to fashion councilwoman to grand sage of couture. Bethann developed Bethann Management and had over 70 models and acts of talent under her wing, of all ethnicities and races. She wanted to specifically highlight models of color, but was welcoming to all. Bethann believes in empowering and showcasing the model, like the real model, the real model. Many of the models that we know and love today were given their start and initial encouragement from Bethann. She has helped to guide and steer the careers of models, singers, and actors like Veronica Webb, Naomi Campbell, Tyson Beckford, Brandy, Tretch, Rushumba, T-Boz, and many more. Fun fact, Bethann is the mother of a different world star, Kadeem Hardison. Dwayne Wade mama is a supermodel, y'all, okay? In 2007, Bethann launched a council and collective to explicitly call out the blatant racism in the fashion industry. She named over 100 designers and runway show councils in their acts of racism and exclusionary practices of models and Black women of color. As she often says, I call it like I see it. Shots fired all around. She continues in her wise and stylish elder years to advocate in a revolutionary way. She is ongoing, unyielding, and fervent in coloring the fashion industry in the same hues that we see every day. The world is not merely white. It is full of distinctive, vivacious, and melodious color. Bethann continues to be awarded for her prestigious and radical runway work yearly. She is steadily invited to share her wisdom and insight on fashion panels, councils, television segments, documentaries, and films. Her legacy is alive, thriving, and working continuously to provide opportunities for models of color, and we owe so many words of gratitude and honor for what she has done and continues to do for the fashion world. Bethann Hardison, you are legendary, phenomenal, revolutionary, supermodel, mother, femme fatale, and you are fabulous Black history, and we love you dearly. Thank you for being so powerful, brave, beautiful, kind-hearted, and fearless. May you continue to be appreciated and celebrated.
Most challenging, my first fashion show for Chester Weinberg. When I went out in that showroom, there were Southern buyers, and Southern buyers, as soon as I get to the showroom, and I had to walk 3 rooms, they couldn't hold their heads up and look at me. They had never seen anything like that before, and that was shocking. Each time I went out, the room became noisier and noisier. That was one of the hardest things I had ever had in my life, and each time I came back, Chester must have sensed it because he would say, Come on, you're a beautiful woman. I'm always in my heart fighting for the fashion model, no matter what color she's in. You know, we don't have that background like some of the Asians do. They have a lot of factories and their families come up building businesses that way. We don't have that, so this would be the first generations to do it. But I always say, please become an apprentice, please learn. And then you can become forceful when you have something to say.
And they hide behind aesthetics. Yeah. This season aesthetic is this.
I think they're ignorant and they're arrogant. And I think it's not even about racism. I think it's a sense of laziness, and they've told themselves a story. I think all of you are part of the coalition because it's a movement, it's a spirit. You know, there are people who are in the industry who basically have never been able to voice their feelings strongly because it would affect their profession, affect them professionally.
Yeah. Head of the Council of Fashion Designers of America.
Right.
And I want to read a little bit. Quote, eyes are on an industry that season after season watches fashion design houses consistently use one or no models of color. No matter the intention, the result is racism. Those are powerful words, Bethan.
Well, they're powerful because someone said it, but it's not like deep. It's
But
just,
no one says it.
Well, that's the reason. That's why they're powerful. And the idea is that it's something you see. It's actually you're looking at it. You know, I say that I have this joke, and I say, you know, and the MTA says, if you see something, say something.
Yes, that's true.
I'm saying something.
You're saying something.
Basically, isn't that what it is? If you actually say this, you say, I'm sorry, we're not using any black girls this season. I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. If you keep on saying things like that and saying, and you use consistently 35 white girls or 87 white girls and use one Asian, it seems like you tend to lean towards one race. And if you look, and that's why I say to people, don't get upset if I say it. Because if you look at what the meaning means and what it means, what you're doing, it results in racism, no matter what your intention is. Well, there were many back in the day. I mean, back in the 70s and 80s, there was a great deal between Runway and print. And then by, say, 2000 or 80s and the 90s, it was pretty good. And then by mid-90s, it just began to disappear. It was a change of the industry because of the Eastern European models start to come in. Things just change, the business change. That people who are privileged are the first ones to say, why do we always have to talk about race? What is the problem? I don't see what is the race. We're always bringing up race. I mean, I really don't see a problem with it. That's a privileged attitude. And when you think, if you don't think that you're privileged, you say that makes you privileged because there is a problem.
So you have to stay on the case.
Yes. Thinking so consciously about race, or should we consciously think about race? Yes, I think we should consciously think about race. It reminds people gently how the world looks. Now, don't book a model because she's black. Book a model because she's undeniably beautiful. That's for him and for her. Then we can compete with our white counterpart. And it's not just a black model I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for any fashion model that is non-Caucasian. Because the Caucasian kid is good. She's got it. She can run. I'm looking for everyone else to mix up. I want the world to look like when I walk out in the street. This is not a Woody Allen movie. The designer's there. You know who tells them who's going to get in? The stylist. The stylist is a total person. They have all the power. Who comes under the stylist is the casting director. Who's underneath the casting director? This is things that we've learned along the way. It's all changed. It's not like it used to be. When she was a model, yes, people... Isn't this great, there's 3 different generations? When she was a model, you came in, she became a muse of the designer. The designer looked at her, went crazy for it. Veronica put on this, and all the assistants were around her, and they would say, let's book her. And they called me, and they book her. That's not like that anymore. Now it's about an outside person that they've now hired, who's now become powerful. And also, then there's another person who goes around the world searching for models every day. It changes the business. So the diversity is happening, thank goodness, because they've leaned into the possibility that girls of color can work. That's important for us. But I'm still fighting for models. I'm not interested in the outside world. I'm not interested in that. Why? When it's all white, they're disturbed by it. Because there's so many more white girls, always will be, than girls of color. But it doesn't mean that there's not many more girls of color now. That's what's important, and that there are more girls of color working now. It's not because I'm a girl of color. I literally watched a fashion show the other day in person and then online. And I tell you, the girls of color made the clothes. That's no bullshit. I wish they only had that moment again where they could be in the showrooms with the designer. I wish that the model could become used to get.